All right, the ongoing demonstration of using the communication device in the office as a means of stalking with activity. I took a still image of the phone ringing, which is audible activity, with simultaneity to what the entity is monitoring me doing inside of my office. And in relevant position is the demon third party group stalker Carla Lopez in the name of speaker companies who's engaged in terrorism in the workplace, harassment, and sexual violence as an entity engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring in the workplace. And he's on the opposite side of this wall. At least this is where I'm hearing amplified audible activity at the same time that the phone is ringing with simultaneity to my movements. Again, documenting the statement made by this third party. This is a demon in the workplace. All of this is legally relevant. Being demon possessed, exhibiting demon possession while you are engaged in the state's criminal system. This is terrorism. It's all legally relevant for prosecution and federal imprisonment while you're also witnessing impunity by virtue of seeing this demon's mug on my camera. The waste management is surrounding with audible activity, and as they're driving in relevant position at the hillside off of Effie, Amazon, Lobdale, this is presence in the path with light activity. The flashing lights are on those trucks. This is presence with simultaneity to my movement on the property. And then you see Amazon Prime. At least this is what the entity is representing by wearing an Amazon Prime vest. And the targeted individual is going to document that accordingly. And the entity is also documented by license plate. You see the maintenance of light activity while Amazon Prime is exhibiting impunity, engaged in demonic activity, which is terrorism by a third party group stalker, Amazon Prime. And they are crossing path. They are maintaining activity as I am moving about on the property. This is how the people of the state are monitoring you in concert and on behalf of the state itself. The same entity that you see heavily group stalking in helicopter is monitoring while the people of the state are working as a unit, maintaining the elements of monitoring, light, activity, and relevant positioning. As I walk about, leaving my private space where this entity is necessarily engaged in the sex offense, maintaining activity as I am then in motion, walking about the property. And that's the significance of what I documented. Amazon Prime license plate 9LSC274. You'll see light activity. You'll see the literally the communication device in hand. And this is workplace terrorism, harassment, and sexual violence, as Amazon Prime, representing the people of the state, is engaged in the criminal pattern of conduct on the grounds, engaging in the criminal system inevitably. And by the way, delivering a package in relevant position while you're creating the elements of monitoring is the criminal act, a federal offense, a series of federal offenses. First of all, including federal group stalking and monitoring, facilitation of federal group stalking and monitoring, workplace terrorism, harassment, and sexual violence by an entity, and they're engaged in federal stalking in violation of Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2. This is documented in the still images while that third party is maintaining perfect alignment with me as I walk down from my apartment to maintain presence in that path, which is what I'm capturing. You'll see the demon Carla Lopez, who's in position, monitoring in concert with that entity. This is all an engineered environment. Waste management is at the hillside providing audible and light activity. And that's just what I can perceive. The demon possessed are pacing all around in their vehicles on the streets. This is ongoing surveillance underway. I'm documenting what is perceptible, which is all that the target individual is expected to do. Okay, you can hear it, you can see it. It's the elements of monitoring, and you're in the engineered environment where the elements of monitoring are underway. So they're already at the crime scene. They're engaged, and I'm showing you how they're engaged in state surveillance on an ongoing basis with impunity while they are documenting while they are monitoring the documentation. All of that is also established. Okay, and they're doing it on behalf of the entity that's group stalking on an ongoing basis. And again, this is what I'm documenting at 1:24 in the morning, again at 2 in the morning, and the entity is group stalking by helicopter with full knowledge of the people of the state who are going to federal prison. And that was already a conclusion foregone, already done, completed, while the entity is repeatedly engaging in an ongoing pattern of conduct in to the demise of the rest of the entity that is already surrounded with evidence. LAPD and the city of Los Angeles, which is a facilitating venue, is doing nothing other than racking up more time in federal prison. I just add more names to those who are going to federal prison. I add more names to the list that's going to be maintained by the Department of Justice as I encounter group stalkers. That's all that's happening. The prosecution is already complete, and I already stated that. When you are watching them engage in coming onto the grounds, flying in a circle over the apartment building in relevant position to me is what you're looking at. Using the spotlight is light activity in relevant position to me with simultaneity to my operation of my communication device. And I just so happen to be documenting state surveillance. That's speaking to what is targeting. And they're already a heavily documented group stalker. Already heavily documented. That's exactly what Amazon Prime is engaging in. This is exactly what Waste Management is engaging in, and they're facilitating it. Understand how the entity is engaged in workplace terrorism. Speaker Companies is a third party. It is the crime scene. It is facilitation, and literally the employees are engaged in that pattern of conduct. There's no coincidence there. It is indeed the criminal system that's underway. I'm naming them by company names. I'm naming them by license plate, and the corporate headquarters are going to be put on notice for the civil and criminal prosecution that they're subject to, as I continuously document their company engaging in what is state terrorism in concert with the corrupt government by virtue of their demon-possessed workforce, which is also not a coincidence. This is state surveillance, and you have many companies that are bowing at the altar of Satan. They serve Satan, and they're engaging in what is a demonic system, demonic activity. You have a lot of people that serve Satan, but again, this is not a matter of what is religious correction or the concern with trying to save someone's soul. You're going to be civilly and criminally prosecuted for what is state terrorism that's underway, facilitated through your company, period. You're threatening the life, liberty, overall well-being, and the liberty of the American citizen who is subject to your criminal activity that is aiding a state, a public entity that's engaged in the system. And by the way, they're not ignorantly doing that. Okay, it's not a coincidence that they are maintaining the same exact elements of monitoring with conformity to the pattern of conduct long documented for a term of years. You are not just coincidentally delivering a package and maintaining the elements of monitoring at the specific environment. That's the pattern of conduct. So I'm just speaking to that. And the entity uses the phone as a means of audible activity. And I'm going to document it in the video, and then you'll understand the significance. I took a picture at 8:20. The phone rings. It's audible activity. And it is with simultaneity to my documenting, noting the audible activity of this demon, Carla Lopez, who says that it's normal for the entity to fly over in helicopter over an apartment building, a private complex, 2 o'clock in the morning for a prolonged period. That's normal. And I'm just stating that, first of all, it's only normal for group stalking. That is not normal. It's an unreasonable nuisance. And law enforcement agencies are not provided just free-willy discretion to disturb the quiet enjoyment. There are so many contractual obligations, and you don't have a right to engage in that sort of nuisance conduct. But even beneath that superficial veil, it is not normal to engage in flying over someone's private residence in a helicopter for a prolonged period. On its face, it's not normal. In addition to that, it's clearly not normal in the specific environment, and I've already pointed out what are the elements of monitoring that the LAPD are engaged in while they provide that evidence to me, which is going to be used against the people of the state. That same exact group stalking that I'm documenting at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning is underway now, and you saw it's facilitated, as I documented, through Amazon Prime, Waste Management, Speaker Companies, and the third-party group stalking minions of speaker companies, and it is all in concert with the state that is engaged in surveillance surrounding the venue, also in helicopter. And that's not just the Los Angeles Police Department. It includes the fire departments and the demon-possessed that are operating ambulances, because they're using their sirens and they're using the vehicles themselves as a method of light activity. The entity also engages in things such as surrounding in the vicinity, any construction work, building lights in the vicinity with regard to relevant positioning. This is how they're maintaining light activity. Okay, the entity does this on a massive scale when you're looking at the light source, which is not the sun, that remains over me at the property. Okay, this is how you're understanding what the entity is doing, the same thing, and it's provided through the demonic environment, and all the demon possessed are monitoring together. Okay, it is currently 8:28 a.m. As I documented this phone call at 8:20 with simultaneity to my documenting the false and peculiar statement, which is audible activity of a demon-possessed third-party group stalker, a malicious psychopath, Carla Lopez, who's going to federal prison. This phone is a means of audible activity creation while the people of the state, including Amazon Prime employees, including Waste Management employees, including third parties that are just on the grounds engaging in criminal activity, and they are maintaining surveillance together. Anyone, including a demon operating a helicopter affiliated with the LAPD, are capable of calling, and that's exactly what happened, calling, and I just want to document what happens as I call this number back. All right. The use of the phone, like I stated, is nothing other than a means of audible activity while the demon-possessed are maintaining real-time knowledge of any and everything that I'm doing, not only physically inside of my office, but also on the communication devices. And this is relevant to Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2. While this phone is used as a means of audible activity, which is terrorism while a demon-possessed entity is keeping you under surveillance, such heavy surveillance like that. A demon is amplifying audible activity, stalking in the path in the laundry room because noise is coming from this side of the wall. There's no table here for folding your laundry, which is the form of a demon. Oh, I'm just folding my laundry. There's not even that. There's no trash can here. It's nothing. And by the way, even if there were, it's audible activity that's occurring. You're recognizing targeting through the environment. You're recognizing targeting based on the activity that's created surrounded by what the target individual. I'm the leader. The demons are following me, and follow is a term of art. They're stalking. They're stalking with noise. They're stalking with light. They're stalking in the path. That's what the demons are doing. That's what group stalking is, and it's terrorism in the workplace right now. And while the phone is a means of audible activity, with simultaneity to their knowledge of what I'm documenting about this demon Carla Lopez, in relevant position is noise on the opposite side in this laundry room, where the people of the state are entering and exiting, engaging in what is surveillance in a laundry room. As pathetic as that is, that's entirely criminal, and it's terrorism because it's so psychotic, okay? It is, again, 8:31 a.m. This is P.O.C.